All right, fellas, let's jump into our most drafted players, looking at guys in the top 100. Matthew, who do you got for us that you've been on early so far?
Yeah, it's been a lot of best ball drafts. I also took place in this. All of us did in the Scott Fish Bowl. But in terms of one of the players that I find myself on a lot of my teams, although he didn't wind up on my Scott Fish Bowl team, is Diontae Johnson of the Carolina Panthers. Again, like this offense, we talked about that earlier in regards to Jonathan Brooks. It's not going to be terrible. I'm not saying it's going to be great, but again, I think the reason they brought in Canales is to fix Bryce Young and to fix this Panthers offense the way that he did last year for Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Remember that as bad as Bryce Young was last year, and he was as brutal as there was, for the first 11 weeks of the season, Adam Thielen was the third best wide receiver in fantasy. We expect Bryce Young to be better this year. And so a better Bryce Young can produce a fantasy relevant wide receiver. So Diontae Johnson, who has had 4 straight years of at least a 22% target share. And I think we all agree that Diontae Johnson, just on a pure talent wise, is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. I know we've had this debate on this show a lot of time, but we all like Diontae, all jokes aside, we all like Diontae Johnson's talent. And so again, as we talk about sort of coach speak and what to pay attention to, what to not, Dave Canales has said the Carolina Panthers this year will be centered around Diontae Johnson and how teams are covering him. Xavier Legette just had an injury, so we'll see how serious that is. But you've got Thielen there, you've got Jonathan Mingo, you've got the running back side of the backfield. But Diontae Johnson, I don't think has any real competition that scares you for targets. So this is somebody who should have a north of 20% target share. I think there's a chance he gets to close to 30% target share. And if Bryce Young is even slightly better, like he's where Diontae Johnson is going. He's going his ADP on DraftKings in DraftKings Best Ball is 76. 8th round, basically. Like, give me Diontae Johnson all day, every day.
Yep. Jay, who do you like early so far?
I like the King Henry, who I think is going too late in drafts again. Right now, he's going as like RB8, RB9 off the board. And if you just look at his odds on DraftKings, like right now, he's second in terms of odds to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns behind only Christian McCaffrey. He's third to win the rushing title. So I think that he is going to get a lot of work. And I think maybe there's a sense that, he's trending towards the other side of his career. And it felt like Tyjae Spears was cutting into his work a lot last year. Last year, Derrick Henry led the NFL in carries on a bad team. Like, he had 280 carries, 8 more than Christian McCaffrey. So I think that he still has a lot left in the tank. I think he is the type of player who is just immune to the natural agings of time in the human body. You think he is just completely built different. He is an alien. I suspect that going into Baltimore, going from playing behind maybe the worst offensive line in football in Tennessee and a stacked box, now he gets to go into the Lamar Jackson offense, which is just a cheat code for a running back because you can't stack the boxes. You have to account for Lamar. So I think that Henry is going to have an awesome season. I think he's going to get a lot of work. And the thing with Henry is just like, let's see the fall off before it actually happens, because he, for the past 6 years, has been 1,000 scrimmage yards at least and 10 plus touchdowns. And by the way, one of those years, 2021, he broke his foot halfway through the season and still got to those numbers. So let's see him not produce before we pronounce that he is definitely on the other side. Like, you read there was an article, I think by Dan Pompey in The Athletic, where he's just going through Henry and his routine. Like, Derrick Henry is going to put himself in the best position to succeed. Like, he is a workout freak, takes care of his body. I think that he is going to be in for another massive season.
For me, guys,
I'm with that. I totally agree with that take, by the way.
I'm with you as well.
King Henry's going to have a monster year.
For me, guys, I'm buying in the rookie hype on Malik Nabers. DraftKings best ball ADP right now at 30. The Giants, listen, I get the concerns about quarterback, the concerns about the offensive line. This offense didn't have a single player see 80-plus targets last year. Since 2018, though, all 5 wide receivers taken in the top 10 have seen 100-plus targets as rookies. He is thrown right into this offense. He had a great spring. He's looked really good early in training camp. This is a player that at LSU in 2022, 100 targets. At LSU in 2023, 128 targets, while playing with another first-round receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. He wasn't just handed these targets. You have to go earn them. Nabers is too special. Dable is going to understand how to scheme to help his quarterback and Daniel Jones on some of the easier targets to get Nabers the ball. listen, the entire offseason at DraftKings, Nabers Offensive Rookie of the Year odds were at plus 1,800. Since the camp hype, those are already at plus 1,400. I bet he opens the season closer to plus 1,000. That's just how talented he is. This is an offense where everything is going to be funneled his way. I have huge expectations for him. I know, understandably, Marvin Harrison Jr. is getting a lot of the love, but I think it's going to be really close between him and Nabers, these two rookies, Matthew.
Well, I think it's going to be tough, by the way, and just for the betting market, Jay loves his futures. I would say that given how many rookie quarterbacks are going to get to start this year, and then, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., it's hard for me to see Nabers winning the award, but he is in New York. He is in New York, and so if he does have kind of a special rookie year, he's going to get that opportunity, to your point. Massive opportunity, massive talent in the biggest media market in the world. Like there's a non-zero chance that he wins that award. I think it's unlikely because of the competition, and usually feels like it goes to if Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams or one of those guys, or even Bo Nix, like if one of those guys is awesome, or even semi-competent, they probably win that award. But there's no question Malik Nabers is on my Scott Fishbowl team. Love the talent, love the opportunity. I think people forget about Daniel Jones, and I know everyone sees. It's so funny. I tweeted this out. I said something like, my entire timeline is like basically amazing plays from training camp for 31 NFL teams, and then Daniel Jones throwing a duck. Like, I don't know why. Like,
I noticed it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like crazy. Like, just people like to just dump on Daniel Jones, who, by the way, a year ago led his team to a playoff victory on the road and was a top 10 fantasy quarterback. I get it. It has not been the smoothest of roads for Daniel Jones, but the idea that he's this complete disaster based on he throws one bad pick in practice. Like, you get these plays on X or on social media where it's just like one play out of context. Like, they're having 2-hour practices, right? And you see like one highlight and you're like, oh, look at this connection between this quarterback because he saw one play. Anyway, I think Daniel Jones will be more than competent enough to get the ball to Malik Nabers. And I think Brian Daboll is going to use Malik Nabers in a lot of creative ways. I still have Marvin Harrison Jr. ranked higher. I'm very high on the Cardinals offense this year as a whole. I think Kyler's underrated. I think Marv lives up to the hype, but Malik Nabers is going to be right there.
Yeah, I think the thing too with the Giants is that, one, if Daniel Jones isn't competent, then they have Drew Lock, who I don't think is amazing, but I think will be able to funnel the ball to Malik Nabers if it comes to it, which I don't think it will. I think Jones will be fine. But the bigger thing with the Giants is that they had a bottom 2, bottom 3 offensive line last year to the point where just nothing was viable. It's just watch Daniel Jones against the Cowboys or the Niners. You just didn't have a prayer. And now this year, I think he will have a prayer, and I think that's going to change their offense a ton. As far as offensive rookie of the year goes, Nabers, he's probably not going to beat a quarterback, but his odds shouldn't be double Marvin Harrison Jr.'s.
Right.
They should be neck and neck. And then even with the quarterbacks, another thing, right now, Jaden Daniels is 3 times Caleb Williams' odds. Why is that the case? We don't know anything yet. We've never seen these guys take a snap in the NFL, so they should be bunched together as well. And yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting race.
It will be, guys. It definitely. We'll talk more about the Offensive Rookie of the Year race over the next couple of weeks.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.